Angela here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another sit down video. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Go ahead, click around. If you like my vibe, like, comment, and subscribe. I love that rhymes, even though I do not do that on purpose. If you're returning, thank you so much for returning for another video. Today we're going to talk about going viral on social media, right? This past week I went viral on socials, and this is the most viral I have ever gone. I've gone viral on social before. One of my first viral moments on social media was I was reading a book and it prompted me to tell the story of my mom's murder. And so I told the story on social, and one thing about TikTok is it loves drama and it loves drama and trauma, right? So you want to go viral on TikTok, have some drama to share, have some trauma to share. I didn't do it because of that. I wasn't trying to go viral. I was reading this book called Memorial Drive by Natasha Trethewey, and you know, she isn't like a famous person or anything like that, but she has this tragic story about her mom being killed by her stepdad. And so I was sharing it on TikTok, which prompted me to share the story of my mom's passing and things like that. And when I tell you that, like literally every day I got a comment on that video for months and months and months and months, right? And to be quite honest, that book and me comparing that to my mom's death and then me talking about it prompted like a spiral a little bit. Like I ended up having to get back into therapy. Like I literally had to find a therapist because I felt like I was losing my mind. Anyway, so I say all that to say, I've been viral on social media before. I will never share any personal information like that again as content, just because it is, while I was in therapy and I was trying to work through like these new feelings and new complications around my mom's death, I literally would get comments every single day, and it would literally drive me crazy because I already felt like I was crazy, especially when I first entered into therapy. So I ended up like privating all of those videos, and like I made a note that I would never share any trauma, nor will I share like real specifics of like drama. Like I may give you a roundabout story time of some stuff that happened to me, but I won't give you blow by blow, detail by detail drama, relationship drama, like anything like that. Those are just two places I will not go. Now, I've also gone viral for other things, like talking about relationships in general, you know, from a personal lens, because I don't give advice. I don't talk in generalities as it relates to relationships. But I do talk about like relationships when topics are trending, when there's discourse and stuff like that. So I've gone viral as it relates to some of the things that I've said about relationships. I've ended up on red pill YouTube pages. I've had my friends be like, girl, I saw your face on a thumbnail on a YouTube. I literally actively have beef with this black girl account. I can't even remember it by name. I have to literally go look it up on Instagram, but I'm not gonna put it on here because I don't even want to drive traffic to it. But it's a black girl. She has like a relationship page on Instagram. She has lots of followers. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of followers. She snips my video, right? Just like a little part of my video, right? And it looked really inflammatory out of context, and put it on her page. She didn't ask me, whatever the case may be. And somebody happened to come by it and they sent it to me, and I go to the comments and the people call me ugly, old, just all type of derogatory shit. I left a message on a comment. I'm like, I don't post this type of stuff on Instagram for a reason, because this is not a safe place to have, you know, a unique train of thought. You done took my shit, put me on this page, exposed me to, like, look at your comments. She never responded to me. I DM'd her for weeks. She never responded to me. Whatever it is, what it is. It's the nature of the game. Once you put your thoughts, ideas, all of that out into the internet, you really can't control what people do with it. But I would like common courtesy. That same video that she took a clip from and put it on her page, the Shade Room emailed me and was like, hey, we would like to post this. And I said, absolutely not. And they said, okay, you know, right? And that was that. So there is a way that you can reuse people's intellectual property with tact, right? Obviously she doesn't have it, right? And I don't have anything to say about like being on a red pill page. Like, it is what it is. They're incels, right? This time was very, very, very different, and it was very, very, very positive. So last week, I typically, like now, it's before I log into work, I film content. That morning I had absolutely nothing to post. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And I've been sort of like in my reading bag heavy. Y'all know I love me some good like billionaire, millionaire romance novels and stuff like that. So anyway, I had like billionaire like romance books on the brain. Now, if you know me and you follow me for a long time, or again, if you know me like in my personal life, you know that it has always been a goal of mine to write a book. I always thought that my first book would be sort of like this based on true story compilation of essays or like small stories, like little novellas in one book of like different experiences, like relationship experiences and stuff like that in my life. One of my things on social media that I feel like people love the most is me like sharing experiences and stuff that have happened to me in my life, right? I'm a great storyteller. It is what it is. I'm not even tooting my own horn. I am a great storyteller and people love my stories. And so it's always been a goal for me to put those stories on paper in some sort of book form. But last week I was like, I don't have any content to film, and I have been, you know, reading these romance books. So I sit down in front of my phone and I prop it up and I just get to telling a billionaire romance story, and I literally am making it up like as I go. Within 24 hours it's at 1 million views. By now it's actually, let me look and tell y'all how many views it's at now. Now a little over a week later it's at 3.6 million views. It has 786,700 likes. It has 28.2 thousand comments on it, which, how do you get 0.2? Oh, 200, duh. It has 65,500 saves, meaning 65,500 people have saved it. It has 107 reshares, right? Because you can't download my stuff. So it's been shared over 106,000 times. And like in the comments, people was like, part two, part two. So then I did a follow-up video. I'm like, whoa, hey guys, I was just, you know, spitting out some things in my imagination because I didn't have anything to post. I don't have a part two. I literally just made that up off of my head. So they was like, get to make it up. So then I made a part two. Part two is at 614,000 views. So not as many. I did a part three, that was 358,000 views. And then I was like, okay, Angela, we have something here. People are returning, people are waiting, people are foaming at the mouth to hear what happens in this billionaire story. You need to capitalize on this moment, right? You've always wanted to write a book. You've always planned on writing fictional books. They were always going to be like millionaire, billionaire, like romance novels. It just wasn't what I planned on starting with first. So I'm like, okay, let's run with it, right? So now I am writing this book, and I am writing it what I call in public, where I am sharing details like the character's name. So I made a video saying, hey, give me a bunch of male names, you know, popular in the 80s and the 90s, whatever. I am sharing things like, I haven't done it yet, but I plan to share things like their personal style, because obviously if you know me, then you know the characters are going to be fly as hell. So I'm going to share like mood boards and things of their personal style, just to get people excited about the characters, like help people connect to the characters before the book is actually available, which we'll get to in a minute. I am going to be sharing playlists, because music is so instrumental in my like imagination. I can't imagine making a book that doesn't involve music that correlates with it. So I'm creating playlists for both of the characters, and I'm sharing songs on my Instagram as they're, you know, coming to my head, or as I'm like purposefully listening to albums to like pull songs for different playlists and things like that. So that's what I mean by like writing the book out loud. So since I know that I have people on YouTube that isn't on TikTok, I'll give you a quick synopsis of the story. So the story is about Maceo. That's our main character's name. He's the male billionaire, and Brianna, she's the woman in the story. So that's their name. You have Maceo Tiller, Maceo is a name that I came up with because there was a man, he's a man now, but he was a boy in my project's name, Maceo. And I just always thought that that was like a dope name. Him and my older sister used to date. And I just thought that was a dope name, right? So I ended up landing on Maceo. His last name is Tiller. It's a family name. It's not my last name, obviously, but it's my cousin's last name. One of my favorite cousins, his name was Malcolm, last name Tiller. He was killed when I was younger. That was my first experience with death. Broke my heart, but you know, that's my little homage to him. So the male's character name is Maceo Tiller. The girl's character name is Brianna Bolden, BB for short. And Brianna is a play on my name. So my middle name is Brianna. And when I was younger, I used to lie and tell people that it was Brianna because I hated Brianna. My dad's name is Bryant. And so he named me Brianna. And I'm like, why would you do that? Brianna was right there. So I used to lie and say that my middle name was Brianna. And then I always say it was him, but I can't honestly remember if it was him, my mom, or my aunt. But somebody heard me telling somebody my name was Brianna. They were like, girl, stop lying. That is not your name. So Brianna is a play on my middle name, which is Brianna. And then Bolden is my grandmother's married name. And I wanted Brianna to have a B last name because my last name starts with B, but I didn't want it to be Branch like my last name, duh. But also my nickname is B, but only to my friends. Y'all cannot call me B. My friends, my childhood friends, my friends from home, my high school friends, they call me B, right? So I also wanted to play around with my nickname. So instead of her nickname being B, it's going to be BB, right? So anyway, we have Maceo Tiller and we have Brianna Bolden. And essentially the story is Maceo presents Brianna with this contract to marry him and help him raise his 9-year-old granddaughter, who he now has custody of because he lost his wife, his daughter, and her husband in a car accident, right? And so he's presented Brianna with this robust ass contract. Like, she is getting cash money, right, to marry him and help him take care of his grandchild. So I'm not going to say why or, you know, any of that, why he's like seeking that, because it'll give away the plot and you have to leave a little something for the imagination. But I will say that a point of confrontation or conflict in the story is going to be around the fact that Maceo wants her to sign this contract and he's promising to give her this great life and like all of this type of stuff. Oh, the contract is for 10 years, by the way. The grandchild is 9, and so he just wants the contract to be until she like goes off to college or whatever the case may be. So he's promising her this wonderful, beautiful life minus love, because he feels like he has already had the love of his life. He doesn't have the capacity to like love, and he just, you know, is looking for somebody to do life with, but he can't promise like, I'm going to fall in love with you and it's going to be that type of relationship. Brianna is coming off some heartbreak herself, but she has always eventually seen herself like, you know, meeting somebody, falling in love, or whatever the case may be. So she has a very complicated relationship with men at the moment, but she also doesn't want to sign up to be loveless like for the next decade, right? Like that also doesn't sound like good to her. Like in her mind, it's like, if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. But like, if I sign myself up for 10 years of like no love, then like it can't happen because there are stipulations in the contract, right? And so that's going to be a point of what am I trying to say? That's going to be a point of conflict, and you know, obviously that'll be explored and resolved in the book. And you know, there will also be another plot twist and like all of that type of stuff. And so that's the general premise of the book. And so we'll like explore complications around love and relationship and hurt and loss and, you know, walls being up and breaking walls down and all of that type of stuff. Not to mention, these people are also, you know, mature people. Brianna is going to be in her 40s like I am. Maceo is 50, right? So we're talking about people that have established full lives. Brianna is successful in her own right. So it's not this like story of this like young destitute girl that, you know, was beat down and tried, and this man has to come in and save her. He can't really offer her anything she doesn't already have. And so on TikTok, people are like, sign the contract, sign the contract. You asking too many questions. But I'm like, hey, this isn't some young girl that is, you know, looking to be saved. This is a woman that has everything that she needs and more. It don't come that easy, right? So anyway, that's the premise of the book. And I have been the last 2 weeks sort of trying to like at least get these people's backgrounds and sort of, you know, what the complications are going to be like in the story down. And I found that like writing a book it's not easy. It is not an easy process, right? I'll give you an example. I wanted the city to be fictional because honestly, I didn't want to do all of the research that it would take to make, you know, my book geographically and like historically accurate if I were to like pick an actual city. I'm gonna be honest. Plus, I love when there are made up books in like, or made up cities in books. And the storyline around the city is that it used to be like a city of industry and then it became destitute. This is a story that takes place now, right? Between 2020 and 2025. It's 2025 present day in the book, right? And so this is a city that was pretty much like destitute. It used to be a city of industry, you know, COVID came in and just decimated the city, right? And so then I needed to do research on, okay, if it's on the East Coast, what would be a good like industry? And I used my hometown, which is East St. Louis, as like a premise, like the history of the city, but I just swapped out what the industry was to make it make sense for the East Coast. So I didn't realize how much like work goes into like making sure that it's at least the industry is like made up, but it's at least geographically accurate to like what would be in a small industrial city in upstate New York. I don't know. I didn't put a state to it. I did leave it like open, right, to interpretation of like what state it might be in or whatever. So it requires like a lot of like research. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. It's fiction, but you want it to be somewhat accurate, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I didn't realize that it was going to be that much work. I didn't realize that a little over a week ago, I would sit down in front of my phone and film a video off the dome, and 2 weeks later I'd be writing a whole story in you know, it's crazy. Like, I don't know what to say. But I really am grateful that I did that because it pushed me to do something that I have been constantly pushing off. I don't know if it was because I didn't think that I could do it, or, you know, I was late. I don't know what it was, but that one split decision, it got us here. And that's the thing about virality. That's the thing about going viral online, is that it could either be the worst thing that ever happened to you, or it could be the best thing that ever happened to you, right? Or it could be like the push that you need, right? The worst thing that could ever happen to you, as in like you go viral and you have a bunch of people like being mean to you and, you know, harassing you and all that type of stuff. The best for you, say like a Risa Tisa, where your story gets picked up and now it's going to be a movie and your life is changed, or a TV show. Is it a movie or a TV show? One of them. Your life is going to be changed forever. Or you can be like me and it pushes you into doing something that you have always wanted to do, but you have been, you know, hesitant or afraid, or whatever the case may be. So I say all of that to say, y'all know how I feel about being perceived, right? I have a hard time with it, even though I get up and I make these videos every day, every week. But the cost of your dreams is what I'm trying to say. The cost of your dreams is a little bit of perception, right? It's a little bit of people having their eyes on you and having opinions about, you know, you and your thought processes and all of that. But when it works out, when it works out, and it will work out, this book will be a thing, right? It's the most amazing return on investment. So whether you're on TikTok or not, or you're watching this, I greatly appreciate all of the support, all of the feedback. I've gotten some encouraging messages from people that follow me across platforms, just saying this is your lane, this is what I enjoy most about you, the way that you tell stories. I love to hear you tell stories, like all of this stuff. And it has been literally lighting the fire under my ass to like make sure that I do this for me first, right? Fulfill this dream for little Angela that has been making up stories and music videos and all of that in her head since she was a child. But also to all of you who maybe seen something in me before I was even allowing myself to see it in myself, right? So more to come on Brianna and Maceo's story. Like I said, I will be sharing details that I feel comfortable with sharing on TikTok. I know some of y'all don't know TikTok, y'all gotta go TikTok. Right, but I'll be sharing things as they come along that I feel comfortable, specifically around the two main characters, their taste, their lifestyle. There'll be mood boards, there'll be playlists, there'll be all of these things to get y'all engaged with these characters so that y'all don't forget about them. Well, it takes me, I don't know, probably through 2020. It'll probably be this time next year before you actually get a tangible book, because it took me a week to think of names. It took me a week to think of names. I did 4 hours of research to write 2 paragraphs on the fictional city. So it's not gonna be a quick thing, but I thank y'all for being here. And in the meantime, in between time, we'll talk about clothes, we'll talk about, you know, trending topics, we'll do all of the normal things we do, vlogs, all of that type of stuff. I still am doing my glassware thing. As soon as I move into my new apartment, I have a couple samples that I want to order from vendors so I can check the vendors out. Like, we'll still be moving and shaking with a bunch of things. We're also adding our billionaire contract story that does not have a name. And I also need to get an IP lawyer before somebody steals my goddamn idea. So thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about Brianna and Maceo's names. I love them. Brianna and Maceo, I think it's great. Anyway, I will talk to y'all in the next video. Bye.